What?
Yeah, they're Muppets. They're not just puppets, they're Muppets.
Muppets? I thought Muppets was not what they are.
It's the Henson Company, though, so I mean, it's all their designs and it's all their aesthetic.
But Sesame Street tried suing them. They called them puppets. If they were Muppets, they would have called them Muppets, John.
Okay. I stand.
Bam, movie fights. I win round one. Hal, what's round two?
Why not? Created a monster.
Hi guys, I'm Gregory Alba.
John is my name.
We watched the Happytime Murders, and now we're gonna do a movie review. Are you excited? Mildly, right? Anywho, before we go into this, a couple of mentions. We are leaving for Mexico August 23rd to the 25th, courtesy of Warner Brothers. So if anything big drops and we don't cover it, just be patient. Maybe when we get back. Secondly, over at Patreon, we do full-length TV show reactions and weekly Q&As and offer a bunch of other goodies. Wanted to give a Patron of the Day shout out to a man named Austin Moore. This video fits perfectly to shout this guy out because Austin Moore is working on a couple of Star Wars projects, and you know, Muppets, Star Wars, it's all linked. No, I mean, he's working a lot with a lot of different designs and stop motion, and that goes hand in hand with puppeteering in some ways when you're making a film. Does it? I'm trying to have it make sense for you, Austin.
Sure it's happened.
Just go check out his channel. There's a link in the description box. Damn it. Just go check it out. Austin, I love you. Can't wait for that Star Wars fan film to come out. I don't know behind the scenes stuff. This guy's working on a lot of projects. Hope you're doing well. Way to ruin a shout. Let's talk about the Happytime Murders. Alright, so in this movie, there's a world. It's a universe, okay? And in this world, there are puppets and humans, and puppets are rather segregated. You know, they're looked down upon. So that's the world, okay? But the main character is Phil Phillips, a blue-looking Muppet who is a PI, and he was a former detective, and there was a show back, it was a long setup, there was a show in the 90s that starred Elizabeth Banks playing someone else and a bunch of other Muppet characters. And now a lot of the Muppet cast of that show is being killed off. Phil Phillips is linked to some of the cast members in some ways. Now he has to partner up with his former partner, played by Melissa McCarthy, to go solve this case. This is a dark, gritty crime thriller.
In a sense, yes.
So, if you guys saw the trailer for this, you would know that this is a hard R Muppet film. It really is.
Yes.
One thing I can assure you of is the trailer is in no way misleading.
No, you kind of get 100% what you expect.
You get 1,000%
Yeah.
to what you'd expect. This movie doesn't strive to be anything more than just a funny movie that's an R-rated Muppet-like film.
Yeah,
It doesn't strive to be anything more than that.
It's a novelty.
I think that any opinion of any movie is obviously subjective. And I think if there's a genre that is very subjective, it is comedy. Comedy, to me, is the most subjective.
And the winner for Best Motion Picture Comedy, The Martian.
That is just my subjective opinion on genres. So, this movie, I noticed that when we were in the theater, I'd say a big bulk of the theater was laughing consistently throughout the movie. I was sitting next to John, and I'd say John was laughing more than I was laughing at the movie. I'll still say I enjoyed it. It was still entertaining throughout. There's a lot of jokes in this movie, and I didn't crack up through most of the movie, but there were a couple of really good laughs that I did have that were coming very intermittently for me, but overall it's an enjoyable film. John, what's your take?
Yeah, ultimately, like I said, I kind of got everything that I expected. It's super offensive in the most inoffensive way possible, so, you know, if you like this kind of comedy and if you like the Muppet world in general, I think you'd appreciate it, but I also don't think that it's anything particularly groundbreaking or special or beyond a novelty, because if you remove the puppet aspect of the movie, then you just kind of have a standard, you know, buddy cop movie.
Yeah,
You
I
know?
think a lot of the jokes rely on the fact that they are puppets.
Now suck your d***.
Because if you take away the puppets for majority of these jokes, I think that it wouldn't be funny.
It would just be like a weird version of Starsky and Hutch or something.
Yeah, if you watch the trailer and if you really like the trailer, odds are you're gonna like the movie. And we like the trailer, so I'd say I like the movie. I don't love this movie. One thing I did bring up in our review for that trailer was this part. It's shocking if you're not like prepared for like a hard R Muppets. For the actual viewing experience though, a big part of the effect of this trailer was the surprise value of that. I'm wondering if once this processes with someone like me and then I go watch this movie, will it still actually be funny and surprising? You know, that's the question. It's pretty quick. You settle into this world of, oh, this is just hard R vulgar throughout. That joke, there's like the one nucleus of a joke. Did I use that word right?
I'm not sure yet.
Let's find out. Which is, they're Muppets.
Yeah.
But it's hard R. You know?
Yeah, that's kind of the crux of the whole movie. And
So-
if that tickles you, you know,
Yeah.
if seeing a bunch of silly spray Muppet baby juice is
Yeah.
funny to you, you know.
Instead of snorting drugs, they snort sugar. you
Yeah,
know?
it's one of those movies where kind of the charms are in the little details of the world and the funny ways that this hybrid puppet human world resembles our own in silly ways.
Yeah, to me, I find that stuff more amusing. Like, okay, the juice is
That's-
silly string, the drugs is sugar. It was more of like the dialogue that I would get kind of like, okay. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like I said, this is a subjective opinion because most of the theater was laughing at these jokes, where a lot of time I'd be there going, okay, I get it. This puppet offered to give a fellatio. Yeah, that's funny because it's a puppet offering to suck it. But if a human said it, it just wouldn't be funny, you know?
Yeah, and we've already seen
And we've
that
seen that
comedy
joke
bit,
so
yeah.
many times, you know?
I feel like you hit the nail with the word amusing. Like, the main flavor I left this movie with was it's amusing. For me, it's not like a great comedy necessarily,
The Martian.
but I did find it thoroughly amusing. There's a lot of fun, lighthearted
Yeah.
stuff going on, and a lot of imaginative little flourishes.
Yeah, a lot of it feels very improvised. And I think when you watch what's going on during the credits, like, honestly, the credits made me appreciate the movie.
It's really easy to
Because-
appreciate the craftsmanship because
Yes.
it is a very smooth blend of puppet and human life, you know?
And you see in the credits that, you know, they had to have a lot of actors in green screen outfits moving the puppets around because there were some shots where I was like, how'd they do that?
Yeah,
This
where they
puppet's
got
just
him, like,
walking.
full body walking, yeah.
And it doesn't look like strings, you know? Yeah, so I was impressed with that on a technical scale. I found it that it could be, this might seem like a weird criticism, that it was kind of tonally confusing to me at times. There's two things that kept flashing in my mind. Judd Apatow in the movie Bright. That's what I kept going back with this
100%.
movie. I say Judd Apatow because he knows how to make hard R movies that also have a level of heart. And there's certain plot points that occur in this movie, and this movie is really all about just getting the laughs, and I'm well aware of that. But there are plot points that occur in this movie where I'm like, this could be your time to have more heart. Especially if you're using the Muppets as your... I know, like, the joke is that it's Muppets doing hard R, but I weirdly felt like this would have worked a little better if it honed in more on its heart as well.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. I mean, I do think that it had some.
Yeah,
I
I know,
don't
just
have
saying
anything to-
more. Yeah.
Yeah.
To me, the best jokes in this movie were when it was just character-driven dialogue banter that was going on.
I find that usually in a comedy like this, the stuff I appreciate the most is the stuff that's clever on its own and
Yeah,
doesn't
we're-
rely on a gimmick.
It doesn't rely on the gimmick of it's a puppet saying hard R jokes, you know.
I get it.
When they make fun of certain things in this movie, I won't give away the actual jokes, of course, but like when cops break into a house and they have to like whisper stuff to each other,
Yeah.
there's like a really funny bit there.
Stuff that's just about cop movies in general,
Yeah.
or even just witty banter moments. Those are the things that stick.
And Melissa McCarthy, to me, is the funniest one in this film.
I kind of love when she plays cops, to be honest. Like,
Oh,
I
yeah,
think
like The
she's
Heat and
really good
this,
at that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Melissa McCarthy is hilarious in this film.
Yeah.
She easily got the biggest laughs, and she's really good at she really commits to the interaction with the puppets.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
I think with her and Maya Rudolph too. Actually, Maya Rudolph is great. Doesn't have anywhere near as much screen time, but when she's there, it's really cool. And plus, Maya Rudolph and Melissa McCarthy get a decent amount of screen time together.
Yeah.
And that was a nice little bridesmaids reunion in some way for me personally when I was watching it.
They play off each other really well.
Yeah, and when they interact with the puppets, they really are interacting with them like they're characters.
Yeah, and I feel like that's this movie's perhaps strongest asset is that it is funny and wacky and zany, but everybody commits just enough to sell it.
Yeah.
I don't feel like it's so serious that you're like, what's going on here? But it's
Yeah.
not so light that nothing matters. It's just enough to be an innocuously good time, I feel like.
I guess my only real issue with it is I felt like it could have used a lot more actual clever jokes in the movie.
A bit more cleverness and a bit more heart could have elevated this into something truly lovable and memorable.
Yeah.
Beyond just being kind of a cartoon.
Yeah, it's a very juvenile humor, and I mean, when you watch the trailer, what are you gonna expect?
Yeah.
All in all, I think that if you watch the trailer and you like the trailer, you're gonna get what you want when you watch the movie. And like I said, comedy's subjective. So I walked out going, I liked it, I enjoyed it, it's all right. John liked it a little more than me, I imagine. And then there's a lot of people in the theater who seem like they loved it. So
Yeah, I think partly too, it probably has to do with how you feel about Muppets in general. I know a lot of people grew up with Muppets, and also things like Fraggle Rock and Meet the Feebles. And, Meet the Feebles is really raunchy, and, Peter Jackson and all that. So depending on how you feel about all those things, you might walk out with an actual attachment to this. For me, it was like, I haven't seen a Muppet thing in a very long time. Like, I know the Muppets a bit.
Yeah.
I grew up with Sesame Street and things like that, but I'm not like Mr. Muppets. So yeah, this was just kind of like a fun change of pace more than anything. But I also had a fine time. I enjoyed myself,
overall, I think it succeeds where it wants to.
Yeah. It does exactly what it wants to do, and if that's for you, then it's for you.
Yeah.
And if it's not for you, I don't really know what else you can kind of expect of this movie, because it's not trying to accomplish anything else.
Overall, I give it 3 out of 5.
Yeah, that sounds about fair.
All right, guys. Well, what beloved children's type of category would you like to see a hard R version of? Personally, I'd like to see a hard R version of Deadpool.
Yeah, we need that.
We are so limited.
And I think an R-rated My Little Pony could be good, because that mythology is really expanded, and to take, full control
Dude,
of
those
the potential
horses
there.
going at it would just be appropriate. Hey, do what we do at the end of the videos. Hey, so we're YouTubers, and we're going to say some stuff to you that you've probably never heard in a video before. You can subscribe, ring or click the notification bell. I know it's weird, right? And check us out on Patreon. We're the first ones ever over there. We got a bunch of stuff. Love to have your support.
The third movie fight is just going to be all over. You're going to ascend into Valhalla with like 6 extra trivia-filled heads.
All right.
Here I go.